Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. Good to be with you as always. Appreciate you being with us on a Ballsmic Wednesday. It's a weird week, guys. You're noticing Headlines was recorded. We're having to record early today. Transitional period this week where just logistically trying to figure out some things from a production standpoint. I don't want to bog you down with that, but I do want to tell you this is recorded just before we would normally go on, and it won't be that way permanently. We're live tomorrow, and we're working out the bugs. So deal with this, but it's fresh content. All right, I'm Jeff. That's Tom. Director Matthew somewhere around here as well. On Twitter, it's at @JCameron Show. Let's keep it rolling, and let me, again, do something that I was happy to do just the other day because it's pretty cool. Welcome on to new sponsor and collaborator with us. That's Tried and True Consulting. Tried and True Consulting, a payments and business solutions company owned by fellow Knowles. That's a good thing. A Knowles business owner that's committed, basically, to reducing costs and increasing your bottom line. That never sucks. They'll also give back 10% to the Battle's End of their net revenue when you sign up. It's a trifecta, folks. Scan the QR code you'll see later in the day. We'll post that sucker up when we go to break. And you can call alumni Don or Joe at 844-464-6653. Go Tried and True today. All right, onward we move. We're going to hear in a moment from Adam Fuller. They resumed practices yesterday. A little uneven was practice. I will tell you that I like the comments that we're going to get from Adam Fuller here because he answers some questions that we've wondered. And he's a little bit more, Tom, I think we'd say, I think you were talking to me off the air, a little bit more absolutist, wasn't he, in his comments, which is, it's interesting. It's interesting. It means he's seen enough from some guys to derive certain opinions about who they are, which is pretty cool since we're, 5-6 practices in? That's not a lot.
No, it's not a lot. And there's a lot of overhaul. So that, I think also part of it is he gets more and more into his career at Florida State, and the defense ascends up the rankings across different, metrics, be it traditional or advanced. I think he's speaking with more confidence.
Yep.
He's got more clout.
Yeah.
And also that probably means, and I know Mike Norvell is a great coach in terms of delegation and allowing guys to succeed and fail. But, I think some of the choices he made about guys that came in, I think he had a very, very heavy hand in. Just judging by the way he speaks about certain position groups. The defensive line was one that you had to overhaul. You didn't have all the answers, not many at all, that you needed on the roster coming up through the high school ranks. You had to go heavy into the portal. So you get yourself a Sione Lolohea and a Marvin Jones Jr. and a Tumiwa Durajaye and a Grady Kelly. And who knows, maybe they're going to add another. But they knew they had to add. And this is also, I think, part and parcel to when you bring in experienced players out of the portal, you already know what you're getting at the collegiate level because there's collegiate tape. It's self-fulfilling. Then he gets to put his hands on guys, and that's after a tour of duty in which apparently this roster was fantastic top to bottom. So I think all of those things conspire together to where you're hearing the defensive coordinator speak with a Giants talking stick. Like he knows what he wants. He knows what they need to do, and he's got pieces. Like, I think you guys said it yesterday on Seminole Headlines. It's an easy way to put it. Someone, either Marvin Jones Jr. or Sione Lolohea, is coming off the bench. That's a very good place to be at defensive end. It's a better place than you were last year from a depth standpoint.
Yeah.
The question is just going to be, do you have a first-round pick in that mix like you do this year in Jared Verse?
Yeah, probably not on in terms of the replacements of Jared Verse. You might have one in Patrick Payton on the other side, but we'll see. Yeah, I want to get into that in just a second. We'll play some audio in a moment. But the other news story of the day yesterday was that the Knowles matched their win total from all of last season on the diamond. It's really remarkable when you say it out loud. They played 54 total games last year, Tom. They won 23. It was a dreadful campaign, as we well know. They've played a grand total of 27 games this year, and they've won 23. That is something to behold, right? That it's really quite amazing. And when you repeat it, and certain times when you say things out loud, it hits a little harder. You're like, it's one thing to intellectually know as you're driving along, boy, the Knowles are having a good season. Say it again. They've won 23 of 27 games.
And this was one that looked like the Stetson midweek counterpart from a few weeks ago for a lot of the action.
Yeah.
They were one hitting Jacksonville for much of the day. I know Jacksonville apparently had a team bug, so a couple of their batters didn't come with them. But, danger arrived only because of a singular walk, followed by a pass ball / wild pitch, followed by another pass ball / wild pitch.
Yeah.
And you wriggle off the hook in that situation. Then there's a tighter moment down the stretch where Hudson Rowan can't get an out, and you need to get, Carson Dorsey comes in and
6-out save.
Well, he secures a double play in a huge situation, bases loaded, nobody out, and then he gets a swinging strikeout after that. Like, again, the bullpen showing some grit. There's timely enough hitting. James Tibbs is amazing, and sometimes when you're not going well, your stars need to be your stars. And Tibbs played a humongous role for them last night. And I also thought another key situation was Andy Armstrong, third runner on third, nobody out. He finds a way to get out of that inning, chopper back to the mound, holds the runner, and then he gets 2 strikeouts. Impressive night for Florida State. They're back on the diamond tonight. Strange that you played 2 different teams midweek, but we'll see what arms they throw out there against Bethune-Cookman tonight at 5 o'clock. I'm assuming the weather's going to be good down there, but I know that you got some problems, right?
Yeah, it's been dicey all morning. It's still raining here. We'll see. We'll see. It's coming and going throughout the middle portion of the day is what I'm told. So maybe by 5 o'clock, that field drains and we're good to go. Sure hope we get more baseball. It's just a joy to watch this team. You bring up Armstrong. That was 2 1/3, and he – it's cool that these guys are making pitches in high-pressure situations to get themselves off the hook, as you described. Dorsey gets a 6-out save. And, when he throws strikes, he's electrifying. He doesn't always throw strikes, but when he does, he's got the requisite material to make you look bad, and he can do that. He can get outs. You can miss bats. We've got guys that can miss bats. And you bring up Tibbs. For people who've been a regular listener to this show going back 2 years, the first time I ever saw Tibbs swing a baseball bat, I thought this kid is silky. It is effortless. He just brings the barrel down to the ball. It's quick. It's compact. It does look like it plays to all fields. This was a couple years ago, right, when we were talking about this kid, like what he could be. And he's now got 12 home runs. I think he had 3 RBIs last night. He's going to have 20-plus home runs this season. I mean, you just think about a collegiate baseball player. He's really, really good.
So I know that sometimes these things follow each other, but it's kind of nuts. 43 hits, 43 RBI this season for James Tibbs already. And, we're basically at the halfway point. I think it was Perfect Game named Link Jarrett its midseason coach of the year.
How could he not?
How could he not be number one? The rankings don't reflect that for Florida State. But the thing that I thought was, oh man, it's already halfway over. I wish we were at the third pole of the 1/3 mile pole right now in the horse race, because I'm enjoying the hell out of this thing. You're telling me it's halfway over, so just savor it. And that's of course to the end of the regular season. But this has been quite the ride. And there were some other great things last night too, like Brady Lau coming out, retiring the first 9 he faced. It might have been 10. And he only walked 1, but that was enough. I think he reached a pitch limit that they might have predetermined. And then Cal Fisher's defense at short was very, very good as well. 2 or 3 plays where he's got to charge in and he's got no time. The transfer has to be instant, the throw on point. And it was, again, little details rearing their heads. It's good to see.
Florida State is still, by the way, just so you know, it's the pseudo RPI, depending on where you want to look. But if you were to look at Boyd's World, the top 3 teams in the country are all in the ACC. It's Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina. Clemson's rolling right along at 25-3. Florida State's rolling along at 23-4. You got North Carolina now at 25-4. It's a loaded league, guys. It's a loaded league with some real good baseball teams, and Florida State is doing what they need to do to hold their own. That's exciting. And going to that ballpark, seeing that place packed again, feeling that energy. It makes you giddy for the regionals. It makes you giddy for these big series. Makes you giddy for this upcoming game against the University of Florida when they come to town with an opportunity to sweep for the season. And I get it. Florida is winning weekend series and doing what they have to against good baseball teams in the SEC. They're not winning a lot of midweek games. But if you sweep that team, it does not mean you're going to the College World Series, as I've said before. It does not mean you're going to win the ACC or anything like that. But it does mean, I think unequivocally, that you're in a hell of a lot better place than you were. And that is inarguable. Just looking at the matchup. When we talk about, a couple of years ago, we were so depressed anytime we laid eyes on the Florida State-Florida matchup. And there would be moments where, you're in the seventh inning of a tie ball game, but I was still really depressed because I could just see the world of difference between the two teams. And then the bevy of arms that Florida would roll out there. And you're like, they're not even depending on this guy. He doesn't even pitch on the weekends. If he does, he's a lefty specialist. And he's mowing through our lineup because he throws 96 and he's 6'4" and he projects to go to the league. It's like everywhere you look, they were better. It's just that baseball was being baseball, and maybe we were tied at 2 in the seventh. But we weren't any good, and they were, and it was abundantly clear. But that's not the case anymore. You go position by position, and you say, no, that matches up. That matches up. That's a big, strong kid. Maybe he's a little less experienced than this kid over there. Or this guy may be a better player. Maybe their top-end guy's the best player. But, we have two that are going to go and play in the bigs easily. In our, and when you look at our lineup, third base and obviously right field, like you look around, you say, no, man, the player for player, pitcher for pitcher right now, looking pretty good, looking pretty close. It's just different. It's so much different and so much more enjoyable to know that this team competes nicely with some of the better teams in the country, and certainly in any given series could win the series. So you got a shot, man. You got a shot to go to Omaha.
I think you do. Yeah. The best team that you played so far this year, they earned their comebacks. It's absurd the way they did, and it's embarrassing the way that we allowed it to happen. But you could be realistically staring at 25-2. I mean, maybe if baseball goes the other way, a ball drops and hits the chalk, these things tend to even out. But if you had those wins over Clemson, then your RPI would be far and away number one in the country at this point. So yeah, there are more tests to come, and I'm glad that the ACC, for as much as it's falling apart everywhere else, is still a good baseball conference, and they're having a good showing in the NCAA basketball tournament. I get it, but you're looking game for game. It's not the same as it used to be. Anyway, point being, I'm glad this conference is still good at baseball because that means there are more legitimate tests to come for this group as they go down the stretch. And it's funny to flip the conversation from, I wonder how good they can be, to, I hope we're tested enough before we get to the postseason. That happened in about a month. It took about a month, and here we are. Thank you, Link Jarrett. Feels great to turn on the ESPN Plus app and go through their nonsense camera work and their terrible commercial breaks, because you know what? This is not a labor of love anymore. This is a luxury that we get to engage in multiple times a week. So thank you for that.
Want to touch on that in just a second. Let me remind you, if you're still trying to get that pool in shape, there's nothing wrong with asking for a little help from Terry's Pool Service. You see, summer is almost here as you look outside and your family's expecting to see a backyard paradise with green water and yellow pollen and a collection of who knows what in that corner of your pool. You'll need help, and you'll need it fast. Needless to say, calling Terry's Pool Service will save the day. Check them out, terryspools.net. Also, give them a call, 850-580-7334, because you never know when you're going to need them. That's Terry's Pools. It's a similar conversation, Tom, if you think about it. I brought this up, and I've brought it up a lot because I like saying it, and it's just, I think it's just true. When we talk about Florida State football, we don't ask if they're going to be good. We ask, are they going to be great? We ask, can they win the national championship? Are they one of a handful of teams that could win the whole damn thing? That's not what we're talking about when we analyze, assess, discuss Florida State football. When we're discussing Florida State baseball, we went from, oh my God, how long is this going to take? I know he's a good coach, but sometimes when I watch us lose, I'm not so sure that I'm right about that. I get that Link Jarrett was coach of the year and he was all these other things, but man, we look awful in every facet of the game. How in the world are we going to get to where we can compete? Is the roster that bad? To my man just won midseason coach of the year. We've won 23 out of 27 games that we've played. 2 of those losses are absurd byproducts of a deranged baseball operation at Clemson. And I'm just telling you, I think like that this is amazing. If you're a fan, pinch yourself. Maybe we can be so lucky that there'll be a dramatic basketball turnaround next year that we didn't see coming in a record period of time. I doubt it. Doesn't seem likely. We're not in a good place with basketball right now, but it is possible with all of the transfers and the ways that people hit up portals and all of that. I guess you could fall into something if you just got 2 really good players to say yes to Leonard Hamilton at age 75. It would be stunning, but stranger things have happened. All I know is that watching these two programs shift as quickly as they did brings joy to my heart as a Nole. And this baseball team, when you look at the commitments they've got coming in and who they're targeting, this is about to be an elite program again. And it's already, really good. That happened fast.
And Link's going to be pushing for a new stadium.
Yes.
It's going to happen, man. He's going to have the clout to do so. The good thing is that when they signed him, this is where Michael Alford gets a lot of credit. Sometimes it's like a presidential administration, and an AD inherits some good things, and then but they get credit for it because they finished the particular task.
Yeah,
man, the way that Alford handled the soccer transition was brilliant. Great job, because that was an untenable situation.
An ugly situation with the best coach in the country leading you to national championships, and you're going to lose him.
Right. It's akin to a situation in professional sports where you got somebody who demands a trade, and it's like, you're just taking over the job. Like, okay, so my best player doesn't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
Awesome. And he makes that trade for that acquisition, and it's worked. We'll see what coach can do in terms of replenishing the roster. Coach Penske, we'll see. There were inherited players, but you win another title, so good job. Then in baseball, Link wants to be here. Link's a local, but you give him the long-term security to get him to say yes in a time where we don't have a ton of money. So that's the thing, is this athletic department is not flush with cash. That's why we're trying to make the moves that we're trying to make. And I think the only way that Link Jarrett comes here is if you give him essentially the stability to fail, and it could have careened to the side of mountain again this year. You're not making a change. If it falls flat on its face, he's going to be here. Ain't nobody replacing him. But you do it, and if it works, now you look at the stability of the program, and it's massive. It's massive, and that's where the people have already responded. You could see it in the stands.
Oh, it's crazy. Going over there is a joy now.
So you got Saturday games against Western Carolina in week 2. You've got a Tuesday night against the Stetson or Jacksonville. Man, people are pumped to be there. They're not going through the motions in the stands either. It's very nice to see.
It's an underrated point you make about the Link Jarrett hire. Remember back, folks, that it was paramount that they make the move when they made the move. And there are a lot of political factors and familial factors and just tough decisions that have to be made in that moment. And the reason for it is that Link is basically coach of the year at Notre Dame. They go in and they beat that Tennessee team in Knoxville that was loaded. Bunch of steroid guys, allegedly. Obnoxious guys, not allegedly. Just watching that team at home, they were unbeatable. They had a dominant squad, and Notre Dame wins that game, and they go out to the World. They win that series. And they go out to the World Series. And Link Jarrett's name had never been hotter in the coaching circles because he'd had success several places, and now he had taken Notre Dame, which in baseball communities is known as a place that's very difficult to sustain success because the facilities there suck. People don't like going there, that dump of a town, to play baseball. And he got that program to where it was. Okay. So the whispers are that he's interested, but he's got to be careful because, Mike Martin Jr. is his ex-roommate. There are connections. He loves Mike Martin. He grew up in Tallahassee. How do you do this? What's the balance? And as an administration, what do? You pulling the plug here? There's going to be some pushback for that. At the same time, there are people who are very angry about it, and they didn't want Mike Martin Jr. to begin with. So you're balancing all of this. Like, where does it stand? Where does our support? If we make this move, what's it going to look like? Can we make this move? And then you find out, and a lot of people don't know this, Clemson was going to hire Link Jarrett. Clemson looked like they were the squad that was going to make a move. Now, it's worked out. Their guys doing a great job. But they were probably going to grab Link Jarrett. And there were 2 other schools in that mix, by the way. Another one was in the ACC as well. So if you didn't do it, your guy was going to compete against you in the conference, probably. And you know how bad that would have hurt if he quickly had the same kind of success he's having here.
Well, yes, and I understand what you're saying. He was already in the conference, but he would have been somewhere where he could have done more damage than a place where he has to split time with the track team. And
right. Yeah. Sorry, I forget Notre Dame's in the conference because they don't matter. But yes, you're right.
Correct. You're right. I really appreciate too that he had an affinity for what he did at Notre Dame. I don't know that he had an affinity for Notre Dame. I'm putting words in his mouth. That's me. That's me projecting and putting words in his mouth. Because he couldn't stop talking about the fact that they had an hour to go hit on an indoor football field.
Yeah, no, it was probably something he loathed, but he did win there. I mean, it's crazy. So he has to be proud of that. Yeah,
he's proud of what he did there, and maybe he likes Swarbrick. I don't know. Maybe he does, and maybe he has some fond memories. But I think there's some energy there that he believes it was a dump of a situation. I believe that in my heart. And it makes me like him all the more. I don't want to see Notre Dame succeed at much of anything. And he helped him get there. But I think he realized, like, okay, I know that I need to do a lot of work in Tallahassee, but at least I won't be in that dump. I can be
back
home.
in a beautiful community. Yeah.
I could come home. This is wonderful. I get a pitching lab. Watch me go to work.
We're going to talk Florida State defense in a moment. When we come back, you'll hear from defensive coordinator Adam Fuller. We'll give you our thoughts on that. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Zaxby's has been perfecting chicken fingers for 30 years. So what now? Now we go to the sea. Introducing the Southern Fried Shrimp Meal with butterflied shrimp that's perfectly golden fried. A perfect blend of cocktail sauce and Zax sauce that we call Zax Tail Sauce. Plus perfectly seasoned crinkle fries, perfectly buttery Texas toast, and even a drink with perfectly pebbled ice. Here's to 30 more years of perfect. The new Southern Fried Shrimp Meal at Zaxby's. Woo, saucy! Zaxby's.
Social Kitchen is now open on Cary Forest Parkway near Ology Northside, Tallahassee's only premier market where you can receive the famed Snake River Farm steaks and premier meats. Social Kitchen also has chef-prepared meals and sides ready to serve in just under 20 minutes. Perfect for those very busy springtime weeks, weekends, you name it. Hosting some people at the house. Hey, Social Kitchen also has build-your-own charcuterie boards and catering. Stop in and visit Social Kitchen today or visit us online at socialkitchentlh.com. socialkitchentlh.com.
Hey folks, it's me, Mac and More, spokesperson for Tallahassee's favorite Apple and Mac product store, Mac and More. We all know what Mac is all about. It's your MacBooks, iMacs, Apple Watch, iPhones, iPads, we've all got them. But what's really cool is the and more. And there's a lot more at Mac and More. They can help set up your new gear, migrate and back up your data, teach you new tricks and how to use everything better. And if something costs too much to fix, they'll tell you the truth. There's a lot more at Mac and More. See for yourself at macandmoresystems.com. Or you can take it from me, Mr. Mac and More.
Have you been injured on I-10? I'm Dana Brooks of Facing Brooks Law Offices. We've partnered with Roadproof to access all interstate traffic camera footage along I-10 from Pensacola to Jacksonville. Memories fade and witnesses disappear. Securing important video footage now can make sure your claim receives the full attention it deserves. Call us today and let us secure the proof you need to come back stronger. Facing Brooks, 850-777-7777. Offices Destin, Tallahassee, and Jacksonville.
Leaky faucet, busted pipes, clogged toilet? M&L Plumbing is here for you. For all commercial, construction, and residential plumbing issues, call M&L Plumbing at 575-9393 or visit online at mnlplumbing.com.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit isf.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Your body is a masterpiece designed to heal itself from within. Learn how to maximize your health by tuning in to Phenomenal Health with me, Dr. Ryan Finn. Saturdays at 2:30. Experience true health today and call Finn Chiropractic at 386-7700.
At Epps Decorating Center, we're your locally owned Benjamin Moore retailer. We're your store for quality with brilliant and durable paints in a variety of sheens and thousands of colors. We're your store for service with one-on-one advice for contractors and homeowners. We're your local experts, and we're here to help with all your painting projects. Benjamin Moore, available at Epps Decorating Center with 2 locations in Tallahassee. Find a store near you and visit EppsDecorating.com. That's EppsDecorating.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations.
Mitchell, we talk Florida State football here. We will. We're going to start with the defense. A couple observations about the offense that are big picture observations. Do want to make mention once again of our friends at Heisen Lincoln Law Firm. Attention, Florida, if you're a victim of an auto accident, our live chat sponsor is Heisen Lincoln Law Firm, dedicated to representing injured clients statewide. If you've been in an accident, make sure you call Heisen Lincoln Law Firm at 813-803-0733 for a free consultation. There's no cost to you unless they win. Your interests come first with Heisen Lincoln Law Firm, name you can trust for justice. 813-803-0733, the number, HeisenLincolnLawFirm.com. Heisen Lincoln Law Firm, your advocate in times of need, offices, Tampa. All right, so we heard yesterday from Adam Fuller. It's always good to get Adam Fuller. Tom's going to cue it up, and we're going to respond to his comments. I thought they were pretty transparent.
Well, specifically at defensive end, I think Marvin has flashed. He's what I was hoping he would be. He's really athletic. He's physical at the point. He's got the physical traits. He likes football. We're seeing a lot of the things show up with him that I was hoping I would see. Tamawa, we've moving him inside, outside. I think he probably played 50-50 snaps at defensive end and defensive tackle. So his versatility, I think, I'm trying not to rush and make decisions on what his role is going to be. I know he's going to help us, and he's going to be a really good player because he's got natural shed off block ability. He gets off the ball really well. He's got a lot of tools. It's just about getting the reps with him, and that the role will follow here at one point. Nusi, I think we've seen some flashes. I think what we're doing right now with him, especially pass rush, is seeing things that he's really good at and trying to get him to be that more consistently, have a little bit more of a plan. We know what we're going to get in the run game. We got to continue to hone in on some little things with him. I think Jaden Jones is somebody that was here, but he's flashing. He gets off blocks. He chases. He's healthy. He's long. He's playing with good physicality. That group, I'm happy with the direction they're headed.
It's fascinating. For him to bring up Jaden Jones is a real good sign. I think that they're probably pretty excited about the growth that he's shown now that he's healthy. Lola Hea, it's fascinating. They feel like he's going to be very good against the run, has to get better as a pass rusher. Jirajaye is so multiple. It doesn't sound like to you, Tom, that I think he sees this as a huge bonus that he can really play him a lot inside. That's what it sounds like to me that they're going to do.
Yeah, well, if you're just looking at personnel and where you have answers and where you don't, But it sounds like they have the Dennis Briggs role in theory for him. I don't know that Dennis Briggs ever played the Dennis Briggs role. I think he was talked about an awful lot, and there were times where defensive interior specifically, I thought he made a larger impact.
He was good late in the year last year when he had opportunities. He finally looked healthy, but yeah.
Correct, but you know what I mean. When they did substitutions at end, like Briggs wasn't out there. He wasn't a Swiss Army knife. I think they liked him more inside. Durajaye, the thing that stood out to me as Fuller's talking about his ability to shed. That's important for both positions. It's edge setting as an end. I think obviously in goal line and short yardage, Durajaye has to be on the field. If you're saying that he's a combo end interior player and he's good at getting off of blocks, you want that guy in short yardage, especially at that size. And the Lolo Hayes stuff is nothing new. He said it himself, Sione did, when he got here.
Yeah.
He came to Florida State to become a better pass rusher. He knows he's good against the run. So all of those things are fascinating to me. It does sound, however, like if you were trying to put together a two deep, it sounds like Marvin Jones Jr. would be starting right now opposite Peyton, and then Lolo Hayes would be the one coming off of the bench because Marvin Jones Jr. sounds, at least in that comment, to be a little bit more complete at the position where they're trying to refine some things with Lola Haya and some other guys.
He's the one guy I didn't talk about that he spoke of, and it was the first person he spoke of, and talked about the fact that Marvin flashed, but he also said something that caught my ear that I thought was interesting, and it's that he loves football. He likes football, right? I brought up whispers about Marvin last week on the show, and about what his reputation was, fair, deserved or undeserved. I don't know. I mean, these are whispers. These are things you hear when you cover a team, when you cover a sport, when you cover players and coaches that are coming from somewhere else. You can't know. I wasn't at Georgia. We were in Athens. We didn't watch practice. I don't know what the hell he was or wasn't while he was there on a day-to-day basis. But, we certainly know people in the industry, and we know people that cover these teams, and we talk to people at, our Warchant counter. We talk to these people, and you kept coming back to a couple of things. Like, he was quirky, and maybe he wasn't as vocal as people thought he would be. Most of these guys, I'm using a generalization here, but most of these 5-star kids are alphas. They're studs. They're people that dominate a room. They dominate physically. They dominate verbally. They dominate in everything they do because they've always been bigger, stronger, faster. That leads to confidence. That leads to walking around with your chest puffed out. I don't mean that as a negative, but you've very rarely ever met, say, a high school quarterback who's lacking confidence, right? At a party, he's the one talking to the girls. Why? Well, he's emboldened by his successes athletically. He's emboldened of what he's become, the way he's viewed amongst other males and even amongst adults like teachers. So most of the time, and I know I'm playing, amateur psychiatrist here, but most of the time, these guys all come with sort of big personalities, and you can sense it when they're in a room. If they don't, then people begin to wonder why. If a guy who has his pedigree and looks like that isn't a vocal leader and seems somewhat indifferent to the camaraderie of football and the rah-rah stuff that goes on in a locker room, people begin to wonder why that is. They don't understand it because you don't look like you should be that kind of guy. I don't want to say sheepish, but rather quiet. So aloof is what you get tagged with. And then what does aloof become? Well, aloof really quickly becomes, I'm not so sure he has a passion. I'm not so sure he loves this thing. I'm not so sure that he wants to be here, but rather maybe he thinks he should be here because of who his dad was, right? Like, this is very easy. You can connect the dots. And even if it's just some of those things that I'm saying are kind of accurate or were applied inaccurately, it would account for why he came with a let's watch this guy carefully reputation. And it's not to insinuate that he was a bad person or a person who was loafing or not trying hard. It's just to say that he was built a little different, that he's a little quirky. And so when you don't fit in a cookie cutter mold, people try to make you fit into another mold that they're more comfortable with. And watching him, it's fascinating because you see that body type and you instantly go, whoa. Then you see the speed that comes with the size. And you say, well, he has everything. He's got long arms. He's got a giant trunk. He's an athlete. He's the son of Marvin Jones, for Christ's sakes. I mean, that guy was a monster. And you say, there's no reason. There's no effing reason that this guy shouldn't be a star. And now we fast forward. He's had a good camp so far. He's looked really good. And here is the defensive coordinator noting that he likes football and he's everything that I hoped he'd be. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think these coaches hear these things too. They pick up on these things as well. And they think, well, I like a lot of the things I see on the tape towards the latter time that he was at Georgia. Seems that all the tools are there. Let's see how he responds to our locker room. Let's see how he responds to our demands. Let's see how he responds to the way we get in your face at Florida State, because that's the way this group operates. How does he respond to that? Well, when he says that he's flashed and that he likes football, it tells me that he's responded exactly as he'd hoped he would, and that these concerns can be laid to rest, which is a really positive thing for me to note here just by that one little comment. Sometimes coaches just say things seemingly offhandedly that let you know they open the door to an insight that tells you they're either really angry or really happy. It's just like a year ago when we're watching Vendravius Jacobs. I bring it up all the time. People get mad. I'm not going to beat a dead horse anymore. But, we would watch that kid flash every day in practice, or at least most of the days in practice, and you'd begin to wonder, well, he never gets into games. Why can't this kid get out on the field? What is going on? And Ron Dugans didn't say he was a bad kid. Ron Dugans didn't say he didn't like him or that he was a bad player. He just said he needs to be more consistent, doing all the things that we ask you to do as a football player and a teammate. That comment told you exactly what you needed to know about why he wasn't playing. It had nothing to do with ability. It had everything to do with all the other stuff, the intangibles, like being dependable, showing up on time, being consistent at practice, going to class. It told you everything, and it seemed like maybe if you're not used to being out there, an innocuous comment. But instead, it was a very insightful comment. I think this one kind of is on that level.
To me, if you're quiet, that's not a disqualifier. Like, I know what you're saying is that labels are put on dudes. Certainly the last 3 or 4 really good defensive ends that Florida State's had, Jared Verse, Patrick Payton still on the roster, Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah, they weren't quiet.
They were not quiet dudes. And
they're usually not.
They're usually not. Sometimes you got somebody who's subdued. That's even more worrisome to me. And I don't mean in a
as far as people you don't want to fight, yes,
right. The quiet guy is sometimes the one that you don't want to mess with. And the thing that I took from it was that I like confirmation of what I see when I go out to practice, and especially now that since it's a smaller sample size for me, when I hear Adam Fuller use the word refined for Marvin Jones Jr., precisely something that in the one day I thought, wow, you see him in warmups and stretches, and you're like, that's a large dude. Then he gets into one-on-ones and combo drills and all those situations, and you see some of the moves he has at his disposal and the smooth nature with which he executes those moves, and he uses his athletic profile. Like, this is not somebody who has a ton of potential, who's not realizing their potential, or doesn't know what it is to scratch up at that level beyond the surface. Oh, man, I saw it. Now, consistency would be a completely different discussion because I'm there for one day. But sometimes you see somebody who has an athletic profile and they don't use it, and you're saying, it's Chris Young, the pitcher. You're 6'10", dude. How are you throwing 84 miles an hour? My God. That means if you were my height, you'd be throwing 65 miles an hour. This is ridiculous. And sometimes it's very frustrating. But with him, I saw the size. I thought, all right, let's find out what the deal was at Georgia. The deal is the same thing that it was for Jermaine Johnson. Georgia's loaded. Georgia is loaded at that position. He plays. I think he plays, meaning he impacts this group already. And Adam Fuller said as much, and that's nice to hear from the coach, because sometimes coaches are the last one to give you praise because they don't want you to get a big head. But he was willing to go on record and say he's everything I thought he would be or hoped he would be.
Yeah, I think he's going to start. I think he'll be a starter. I think I'm excited to watch him play. And I think that it's interesting that we don't even bring up Patrick Payton ever when we have discussions about defensive ends, because he's a set it and forget it. Gained 15 pounds, by the way. His body looks better. He looks better. He's already really talented. He's going to have a great year.
I love his motor. Usually I mute myself, so when I said, sorry about that. Everything about his motor. Last year, fall camp, every day as we were walking out, if we talked about Peyton, I'm sure you were tired of him. Like, man, he's good for 15 yards. He's going to get flagged for unsportsmanlike or some kind of nonsense.
Yeah, he's got a governor on it now.
Well, and last year he didn't do it. That's the thing. Sometimes in practice, maybe he lets it go a little bit more in practice, but he didn't care who spoke to him. He would speak back, and he would do so with fire and passion. And I'm like, man, that's a bit of a liability. Not in the slightest on the field this past fall. And you're seeing hustle plays, guys hawking down a slow developing perimeter pass. Braden Fisk was always there. Patrick Payton was always there, reading plays. I saw it again in practice last week. It's a play I bring up a lot, but Jalen Lucas has an explosive play. Patrick Payton is on the opposite side of the field, and he has to go almost the width of the field to be in position to set up to make a play. And he's there to help guys rally to the football. He wasn't helped. Nobody else was there. I mean, that's a practice. It's a nondescript second padded practice of spring. You're a made man on this team, on this roster. Nobody's coming for your job. and he's still got that motor. I'm thoroughly impressed with him, and I think people are going to love his tape next year at the professional scouting level, and they're going to talk about his football IQ and pursuit. And those are two awesome traits. When you're handing off from a Jared Verse to the next wave, he's got two awesome traits of maturity that I think are going to help younger guys down the line.
Churning out pros, Florida State University football program will do that again this year, probably to the tune of another double-digit draft, and that is a back-to-back campaign that puts you on the radar of every meaningful five-star recruit in the country. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Attention, Florida. Are you a victim of an auto accident? We introduce our live chat sponsor, Hyson Lika Law Firm, dedicated to representing injured clients statewide. If you've been in an accident, call Hyson Lika Law Firm at 813-803-0733 for a free consultation. Remember, there's no cost to you unless they win. Your interests come first with Hyson Lika Law Firm, the name you can trust for justice. Call 813-803-0733 now or visit HysonLikaLawFirm.com. Hyson Lika Law Firm, your advocate in times of need.
Did you know metal roofs' survivability far exceeds that of traditional shingle roofs? It's time to consider a metal roof from Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee. We provide the best quality, least expensive material and accessories in the area, as well as material pickup and delivery. Our painted panels qualify for the City of Tallahassee's low-interest Energy Star loan program also. And don't forget about our veteran law enforcement discount. Give Metal Roofing Sales a call today at 536-9123, 536-9123.
There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. You two at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude,
no.
I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean, you know.
No, I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics.
Don't forget about my friends at Orange Theory Fitness, where now you can do the you can do the treadmill 50, the tread 50, where you just go in and you run. You run. They got a program set up for you. It's interval training like always, and you give and go, and it's just the tread. They have strength 50, right, where you can just go in and just lift weights with an intense program. They got lower body and upper body. Outstanding additions to the already really versatile and effective interval training that Orange Theory provides. So look into it. Start to get warm. You're going to have to take your shirt off at some point, guys. You want to look better. Orange Theory Fitness, there's 2 locations in Tallahassee, orangetheoryfitness.com. All right. One thing to note, continues to be a bit of a bugaboo. Corey noted it in his practice notes on warchant.com. I have been a master over the time that I have been here covering this program for you guys at recognizing certain shortcomings in a player's game that otherwise I think is a good player. And that's when you guys get introduced over the years in any sport to Tough Love Cameron. And you guys know Tough Love comes in bearing nothing but goodwill, sometimes disguised in rather terse terms. Sometimes you have to hit the nail on the head and tell somebody that this is the problem. You'll love them, but here's the problem. And you hope that it spurs them to greatness. But so far in this camp, if we're going to address something that has me mildly concerned, I think this might be it. They drop the ball too often. There's too much dropping of the football. And if you recall, it took me 30 seconds to lay eyes on Johnny Wilson and say, nice player, Can't catch. Needs to learn how to catch the football. And people were so enamored with that size because it's freakish. And there's a built-in advantage with being that big, running that speed. But not if you can't catch the ball. And so my relationship with Johnny Wilson as an on-air personality and analyst and his as a player at Florida State was kind of topsy-turvy, guys. There were days that I thought, man, look at this dude. He's everything we could have ever asked for. Look at the transformation. What was Arizona State doing letting this guy ride? He's a difference maker, and he would be a difference maker. And then we'd watch a game where he couldn't catch a cold and would drop critical third down passes. And you'd say, be nice if one of our receivers, blessed with those physical tools, could catch, because that's kind of the job of a receiver. And then there was everything in between. In the end, it was an overwhelming plus. Good thing that Wilson came here because he ended up being a very good player, and I hope that translates to him having a long and prosperous NFL career. I do. I like that kid. He's a hard worker, all those things. And he was a productive player for Florida State, very productive. I'm looking at you, Hakeem. I don't want to go here. I do not want to go here, Hakeem, because I've been the guy talking you up from day one, and I know you would have killed it last year if you hadn't gotten hurt. We saw glimpses, and you've transformed your body completely from being pudgy and a burger away from being a tight end to looking like an elite NFL receiver. You're physically a marvel to lay eyes on. And I know you've got speed. I know that you like to block. You've embraced an aspect of the game that people, I think, absolutely have to play in this offense. And also it makes the team better in the run game. All the things, right? All the things that we want you to do. Catch the damn ball, man. Catch the damn ball. And you're not the only one. So right now, I don't know if this is an official Tough Love Cameron appearance. This is a 2 fingers to my eyes, 2 fingers back to you, and the rest of your cohorts at the wide receiver position. All of you. It's early. It's not time to panic. 2 fingers to my eyes, 2 fingers back to you, wide receivers. Let's catch the damn ball. A little too much of the, oh, look at that. What an amazing catch that was. Vincent makes a catch yesterday that everybody talked about. And I've seen that. I saw a catch. You saw this catch, Tom. Deuce Spann made a hell of a catch in the back right corner of the end zone where he just reached his big paw out there and caught it by the tip of the football rather improbably. I've seen lots of guys make catches so far in camp that you go, whoo, look at that. But I've seen far too many balls hit the ground that were right there, nobody around, make the damn catch. So I don't want to label it as we got a problem. I'm just saying, 2 fingers to my eyes, 2 fingers back to you, wide receiving core.
Okay, so in the grand scheme of colors, it would be a yellow alert. Is this a yellow alert?
Yeah, and it just turned yellow. You got time to run the light. You're good. You got it. You get through that intersection, no problem. It's not even close to turning red. Just hit the gas. You're good.
Man, I went through the worst red light I've ever gone through in my life here, about 5 blocks from my house. And it's a red light camera, so we kept it. It's on the fridge.
You're just cruising through.
The problem was it's not her fault, but like she was like, "Hey, look out for this thing." I'm like, "Okay," and then the light's red.
You're like, ah!
And the speed limit by the beach here, everything is like 25, 35. So it goes yellow red. Like there's not even yellow light. It should just be like the old school Hollywood
green
1935 red. Green red. And man, they got a photo of me not even in the intersection with it red. It's only a 3-way stop, and thankfully there's no danger in this situation. And thankfully it was only $50. Everything in New York is like expensive, but yeah, this was not a yellow situation. What you're saying is I'd be in a lot safer.
Yeah, you'd be all right. You're gonna make it through the intersection.
This is Appalachian Parkway, Magnolia, like one of the longest yellow lights in Tallahassee. You got some time. I think somebody went through that light when it was yellow the other day, and I was a little surprised because I've been conditioned by up here, but it was still yellow. It was impressive.
I said, I got it, buddy. Don't worry about it. We're good. Yeah. You know your lights. You know your community's lights. You know your lights. I'm just saying, I'm looking here. Let's catch the damn ball. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Jeff Cameron, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
two ends, one to think with and one to sit on. Success in life depends on which one you use. Heads, you win. Tails, you lose. Hi, I'm Rick Hughes, host of The Flatline. Heard every Sunday morning here at 7:30 a.m. on Real Talk 93.3 Tallahassee Real Talk Station. Come join me 30 minutes of motivation, inspiration, and some education as I seek to reveal God's plan by teaching 10 unique problem-solving devices. Every Sunday morning, 7:30 a.m., 93.3 Real Talk Tallahassee.
This is Jamie McClenny with Trek Financial in Tallahassee. Despite the highest global interest rates in almost 2 decades, inverted yield curves, conflicts in the Middle East, and 3 of the largest bank failures in U.S. history, equities and bond markets have posted stellar returns for 2023. The Dow Jones, the NASDAQ 100, and the Russell 2000 all reached new highs as markets rallied on the expectations of Fed pauses, Fed easing, and Fed bank bailouts. Markets are going to do what markets are going to do, but a clearly defined risk management protocol can help to mitigate large drawdowns in your retirement nest egg. If you're concerned where all this might be headed, call me at 850-900-5200 and let's talk about ways to mitigate the risk in your portfolio.
Make Jamie your first call for that second opinion. Investment advisory services offered through Trek Financial LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Tallahassee is full of rich history and traditions. When you think of things that jump out in the minds of longtime residents, the state capitol, McClay Gardens, the Springtime Tallahassee Parade, FSU and FAMU Sports, the St. Mark's Lighthouse, St. George Island, and Paul's Termite and Pest Control. Paul's has been protecting thousands of people, their pets, their homes, and their lawns in the capital region for over 50 years. Locally founded and still locally owned and operated. There aren't many businesses in our industry that keep it together that long. Paul's Pest Control has many customers we've been honored to serve for over the last 50 years. We've experienced tremendous changes in how we treat homes and protect the people that live there. We've moved from liquid termite treatments that require drilling into the home's foundation to Centricon, a baiting system which works with their natural biology. We've moved from interior service to exterior treatments for general pests. But one thing we're not going to change is our old-fashioned commitment to personal service for each of our customers, the same way we've been doing it for over 50 years.
For the elimination of termites, any other pests, and a greener lawn too,
call Paul's.
We'll get them all.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
Results are in. In a nationwide double-blind taste test, Applebee's Classic Buffalo Boneless Wings reigns supreme as America's favorite boneless wings. To celebrate, Applebee's is offering boneless wings for 50 cents each for a limited time. Available for dine-in, to-go, or delivery. Head to your neighborhood Applebee's or visit Applebee's.com or mobile app to celebrate with this unbelievable deal. Price, participation, and selection may vary. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood. Sponsored by Applebee's.
Attention landowners. Got big plans for your land? Tackle all your spring projects with a powerful John Deere machine. And now with 0% APR for 72 months on select compact tractors, riding lawnmowers, and Gator utility vehicles, plus up to $2,000 off select compact tractors. It's never been easier to get in the seat. Offer available April 1st through 30th. Visit johndeere.com to find your local dealer. For complete finance details, please call toll-free 1-800-226-8903.
I'm Greg Tisch here to share one of my favorite TCC stories. In the summer of 1966, Eugene Lamb wanted to stay in shape before leaving to play college basketball in Louisiana. So he jogged to Tallahassee from his home in Midway and helped lay the bricks for the first building on what's now the TCC campus on Appleyard Drive. Today, he is a longtime member of the TCC District Board of Trustees. It's no exaggeration when we say Trustee Lamb helped build TCC into what it is today.
TCC thanks our community for 58 years of support. We look forward to moving into the future together.
Whidden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Whidden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Whidden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Wooden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Wooden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
Have you been injured on Interstate 10? I'm Jimmy Fasig of Fasig Brooks Law Offices. We've partnered with Roadproof to access all interstate traffic cameras along I-10 from Pensacola to Jacksonville. Let us help you get the proof you need to stand up for yourself and get fair compensation for your injuries. Call us today and let us secure the proof you need to come back stronger. Basic Brooks, 850-777-7777, offices Destin, Tallahassee, and Jacksonville.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV on a Balls Wednesday. Thanks for joining us. By the way, if you're in the Heisen Link Law Firm chat, you can talk amongst each others, but this is not a live deal here today. This was recorded earlier in the afternoon. We're getting some things worked out from a production standpoint. Nobody's fault. Fresh content. We're good to go. We'll be live tomorrow. All those things, but today we needed to record, so we are a little bit earlier than we normally go on. But that's the way of the world. On Twitter, it's at Jay Cameron Show. Tom's with me here. We had a good discussion last hour. By the way, Tom, just out of curiosity, are the Mets ever going to win? What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
They need to get better about how they do rainouts as well. They even blew that last night. So if you're looking for logistics W's and L's, it's a big L. There's a front that passed through here last night, and there was going to be a 2-hour clearing. And mind you, they're playing Detroit, so you're not going to see them again. You're trying to get these games in. You don't want to schedule up for an off day later.
That's right.
And they get to the clearing at 9 o'clock. People have been let in. They're in the stadium. It's raining.
Wow.
It is starting to clear out 9 o'clock till whatever, 10:30, 11. You could probably get a pretty good sized baseball game in. They cancel it after it clears. Oh, dear God. People are pissed. And they should be. So I don't know. We've got 8 runs to our credit this season.
You've scored 8. You've given up 19. You've lost all 4 games. They cost me a little bit of money the other day.
I know they did. Well, it was 0-0 in extras. Detroit piled on in the 10th inning. The starting pitching hasn't been terrible. The lineup is supposed to be the strength of the team. The top 3 hitters the whole lineup's hitting under 200. The 1 through 9 is hitting 188 to start the season. So, yeah.
Well, we should loan you some runs because we've scored 39 runs so far, plus 18, by the way. The only team we trail in the National League in the plus-minus run differential at this point of the season is the Atlanta Braves by 1 run. We're better than the Yankees 5-1 team. We're better than Detroit. We're better than Cleveland. We're better. Even the Texas Rangers, who have, I think, arguably, besides the Dodgers, the best offense in baseball. I've watched a slew of baseball games so far this year. You do not want to face Texas. That is a problem. And I'm going to tell everybody here that for the purposes of a daily fantasy, if you're a sporting guy or gal, again, that's up to you. Be responsible. But if you're getting Texas at any point plus a run and a half, because you will sometimes when they face good pitching, I don't know. Maybe you lean a little pro-Texas this year because they're going to be in every game. I know it's baseball. They could lose 9-0 today. Who knows? But I'm just saying that offense, that's murderer's row. It's not quite the Dodgers, and that top 3 of the Dodgers is criminal. It makes me angry watching it. When I watch the Dodgers, because Mookie Betts, you could argue, is the best player in baseball, sandwiched between the other 2. It's like, what are we doing? This is crazy.
One of the top hitters of his generation and one of the singular players in the history of the sport. Yeah, that's how you go. That's actually, I went out of order there, but that's 1, 2, and 3. Could very well be the National League's 1, 2, 3 in the All-Star game. It just goes Dodger.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
We'll see what the Braves players have to say about that. But yeah, it's a 2-horse race in the National League. You know,
Probably. Now let's not forget those same Dodgers a year ago fell on their face, and the Braves lost to the Phillies despite having 100 and some odd wins. So it happens.
Well, yes, that's called disappointment, and that's
bitter disappointment. It's beautiful.
It's not living up to expectations. Hell, we know all about that in Queens. We know all about it.
Yeah,
but if you're talking about what should happen,
and if you're talking about winning a lot of games in the regular season, yes, the Dodgers are going to do that. The Rangers are going to do that. The Braves are going to do that. Absolutely, yes.
Right. Now, they could disappoint people. Like, they could get in the postseason and leave them wondering how the hell we've only won as many titles as we have. Like, one of the best places to have that conversation is actually Metro Deli downtown. This isn't a plug, but the owner, Rob, and our guy, Johnny Mack, represent those two fan bases, and they kind of understand each other right now in that sense. Like, boy, we do an awful lot of winning, but we don't do a whole lot of World Series winning.
Well, and it's gotten harder. I've thought about this now that they've changed how many teams make the postseason. I wasn't in favor of that. I know it's good for baseball. It's bad for the better teams. I mean, you got more you got to go through, and it's going to be harder to win a World Series than it used to be, and it was always hard. But, man, you are not rewarded for regular season dominance the way you once were in baseball many moons ago. Obviously, way back when, it was the winner of the National League against the winner of the American League. That's it. That's all. So the regular season meant everything. I'm glad that it's different than that now, because you'd have a lot of teams involved in games that simply don't matter 80 games into the season. That would be a problem. But I think there's a fine line, and I think they probably crossed it. I get it keeps more people involved for longer, and that is really important for the sport. I think I'm a more traditional guy that suggests that if a team can win 96 games, they ought not get screwed by having to go through an extra 2 teams and series that, it's just baseball will bite you in the ass.
Well, there's a lot of seasons in which 96 wins didn't even make the postseason. So there is, that's why they expanded it in the first place. But I do think you should, once you get to that 5 or 7 game plateau, but you should play consecutive days. There should be no breaks. No breaks here, because
the deeper team,
the strength of the Dodgers, the strength of the Braves or the Rangers, whoever's going to be the Orioles, whoever's going to be at the top at the end of this year, is because every 4th day, every 5th day, when they get to that guy in their rotation, they're still good. And the other teams aren't. And when you have all these pauses and you can flip over your ace.
Well, you can have one guy pitch 3 times in a 7-game series. Probably not good. Yeah.
Right. It's how the unbeatable Phillies almost 15 years ago now lost to the Giants, and the Giants won the World Series because their 1-2 and Lincecum and Kane were freaking nasty. Like that's how it happens. But they do space it out, and the spacing out rewards the worst team.
It gives the best team, it gives the worst team in the regular season a much better chance than they would have otherwise. Yes, it does. Look, baseball's random enough to frustrate you. So, I try to break it in pieces. The Pirates are 5-0 currently. It's great to start the year that way. I am excited that they're a much better team than I thought they would be. I thought they'd be better. I told you that. I thought they'd be better, and they did win 77 games or whatever it was a year ago. So, in my mind, they're still a team that's just going to fight like hell to try to go 500 or above. I'm not, delusional. I don't think they're going to be a better team than the Braves or the Dodgers. I'm not crazy. But 5-0 is a good way to start. 5-0 is a good way to start. And they've got some dudes. There's some guys where you're like, oh, we got a little something right there. Okay. So it'll be good. It'll be fun. Now, onward we move. We were talking about Florida State football. We have another clip from Adam Fuller, and he's talking about a position that I talk about a lot and that I'd like to see improve. And I think legitimately has a chance to do just that from a talent standpoint, not an experience standpoint, but from a talent standpoint. Here's Adam Fuller.
Linebackers, younger guys with varied amounts of experience. Has anybody just impressed us from a developmental standpoint?
Blake, Randy said, as the scrimmage ended, I had a good sense. I was upstairs in the box and that Blake had played pretty good, but Randy grabbed me and says, you're going to like what you saw. Just a lot more consistent, being where he needs to be, and you're seeing the flash. Today, an inside drill, you're seeing his physicality. We know he can run. We know he's got athletic change of direction. He's natural in coverage. You saw that last year when we forced the reps with him, like all the wheel routes, like he was making all the plays, picking balls off. It was just the ball would go left, he'd go right. It was just all pad level, but it's starting to show up. I think the arrow's really high on Blake right now.
This is exciting because he's 100% correct. Not that he needs me to tell anybody that, but I agree with his assessment in this sense. He's much more comfortable. Blake is. He could always cover. He's right. Tom, you and I were wowed in coverage last year in the Southern Miss game, in a nothing game where they're trying to throw deep on a wheel route. And he's like, he's in that guy's hip pocket 30 yards downfield making a play.
It looks like Nicholson's the intended receiver. And he made plays like that in practice too, where one of his first practices, I think, he had an interception where he undercut it. And you're like, oh. Nice.
So he could cover. And I have bitched about our inability to cover at linebacker forever. And we can't. And teams isolate us. And I would too. If I were playing Florida State, I'd be like, I'm going to make their linebackers cover because they can't. And as much as I like Kalen DeLoach and Tatum Bethune, I love their experience. I love their heart. I love their toughness. I love their leadership. I didn't love aspects of their game. Coverage primarily. Now, they all had their moments, and they weren't a train wreck. But even a guy like DJ Lundy, we seem so one-dimensional. So DJ Lundy is really good against the run. He's a big, physical dude, and you can have him out there on first down or obvious run situations, and that dude is physically capable of holding up, taking on a block, shedding, making a tackle if he's in the right hole. But he absolutely can do that. He's not covering anybody, not consistently. And then that, like a year ago, Kalen can really run. He can really run. He can fly. He's a great athlete. Wasn't always where he was supposed to be and not great against the run. And Tatum was good, real good football player who was average against the pass and was banged up a lot. That's not his fault. He banged up quite a bit. So it just always felt like we were lacking something. And we're chasing perfection. I get it. People listen to that, especially if you're related to those kids or you like those kids personally. And you're like, this guy's just nitpicking everything. I'm looking big picture, thinking about winning championships. And you can argue in the modern college football game that linebacker isn't all that important. It breaks my heart, just like running back has been relegated to an also-ran status in the NFL and to a degree in college. The importance of a running back is diminished to a point that makes me sick because when I grew up, running back was the most important position on offense. Yeah, star receivers existed, and there were a few select quarterbacks that we all looked up to. But, man, as a kid, watching Walter Payton, watching Tony Dorsett, watching Eric Dickerson, watching John Riggins, you can go on and on and on. It was always running back. The game moved away from it. Linebacker was a position I never thought we would move away from. It was always my favorite position. I was always envious of people who played linebacker because I thought you had to be the toughest son of a bitch on earth to either be a fullback or a linebacker because what you are asked to do in those positions, by the way, we don't even have fullbacks anymore, but what you had to do at those positions required every aspect of being a great football player. You had to diagnose. You had to be able to run. You had to be strong as an ox, take on fearlessly, take on blockers, shed, rip, tackle, form, speed, strength, toughness, all of it. The modern game, because we spread you out and throw you to roll around the lot, play with speed, play with tempo, you just don't see that. But even if you make the case that linebacker is not nearly as important as it once was, so stop stressing on it all the time, Jeff, I would argue that when I watch national championship level teams play, their linebackers make a gazillion plays. You don't think Georgia's linebackers make plays? Watch a Georgia game. They're all over the field. It's insane. Every time you look up, you're like, well, that's a big bitch running a 4-4. Look at that dude. You see it. It exists in the Michigan had linebackers. The better teams still have them. And I think that when we're talking about Florida State being great, you need more consistent production, better play in every facet of what it means to play linebacker from that segment group. Blake is still undersized. I still worry about him a little bit against the run, but he has had a good camp. And if he gets bigger, and he's got time. I mean, this is spring. This is not fall. He's got this offseason to continue to work in Coach Storm's weight room and program. And we know what Coach Storms is doing with guys these days. It's a reason to celebrate. I mean, we're watching the Bama table come to Tallahassee, and it's real. Guys are getting huge. If you can get him to put on another 5 to 7 of muscle, the way he diagnoses and he can run, he'll get better against the run. I think you got something there. And I've also liked what I've seen so far out of Cryer, quite a bit of what I've seen out of him. I think I'm still learning about what Murphy is or isn't. I'm still figuring that out. And I already know what DJ Lundy is. So it's fascinating. It's an interesting work in progress at linebacker.
Yeah, I think much like many segment groups on this team, they don't have the top end that they did last season, but they've got more options to work with. I mean, like running back, I think is a good analogy for linebacker.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You don't got Trey, but you got a lot of different dudes who can do a lot of different things. Receiver, you don't have Johnny and Keon, but you got a lot of different dudes who can do a lot of different things. Linebacker is the same way. And, you talked about in the last hour that there was subtext to what Adam Fuller was saying about Marvin Jones loving football or enjoying the game of football. There's subtext there as well. And Adam's a tremendously intelligent person. So he can layer things. And when he's talking about inside run drill, if you see what he did inside run today and the smirk on his face, to me, that's exactly what you're talking about. Adam is waiting for him to be physically a menace to match the coverage skills. And he is starting to see that physicality that leads to a complete football player.
Yes.
Adam knows the gap. He just said last year he could cover. So what does that mean? Last year he could not, fill in the blank. And he's saying, if you saw him an inside run drill today, I had a good feeling about the scrimmage. Randy pulled me aside. You're going to like what you see. The physicality is getting there. The willingness to stick your head in there, make a play or take on a block, doing those little things is coming. And if that does happen for Blake, then it does change the conversation a little bit, because then you're not so reliant on Murphy to be a plug-and-play starter. And I think he's swimming. Now, I was only there for one day, but you could tell he's still thinking through what this defense is calling for a linebacker to do.
Yes.
And it could click at some point. It hadn't yet, and it shouldn't. It's much like the DJU conversation. You're figuring stuff out. You could tell he was thinking his way through a play. We'll see what these options are. There's more to work with here, I think, this year in terms of numbers. I don't know about production, because when it comes down to it, Kalen shot out of a cannon in the blitz and the pressure games and what they would dial up. That was a weapon that never got old last year. And at some point, you're going to have to dial up some things. And I don't know that they have anybody who's quite as explosive as Kalen. That's probably the thing that we're going to miss the most.
Yeah, it's a weird team to assess. I find we're doing it a lot lately, because on the one hand, I think most people agree with the idea that this is a much deeper talent and that the floor of talent has been raised considerably. And then you do have to remind yourself that there were a lot of guys that did a lot of important things for you last year that had played a ton of football within your systems and just knew it like the back of their hand. And so trying to gauge this increased level of talent and more of it across the team infused throughout the lineup, and also trying to predict how much of that talent will be ready to play in the same manner that the experienced players that left this program a year ago were able to play that level, right? How quickly can they get to that level so that their talent matches up with the understanding? And that's, you can't know it. We can't know it. I mean, we'll venture guesses. We'll give you context. I'll watch practices and we'll talk about what we think we're seeing. And we've done a pretty good job with this now over the last 2 years. I'm going to pat ourselves on the back here. It's not like It's not like we said, oh, they're going to be awful, and then they went 10-3. We said, I think they could win 10 games. And I remember when they had the lull, I was getting a little nervous, but they had to. This last year, I didn't say they'd go 13-0, but I did say they'd go 11-1 in the regular season and had a chance to win the conference. So it's not like we've missed too much on the assessments of the overall abilities of a team. I think this team is good. I think this team has a very, very good shot of going to the playoff. I think this team has a very good shot at repeating as ACC champions. But I am going to have to watch very carefully areas where I'm projecting in my head right now, based on talent levels, what I think they'll be. Because I don't know yet. We're 6 practices in. I can't know. Let's wait and see. Probably somewhere in the middle of the fall camp, I'll have a better idea of okay, this guy got there. This guy didn't. I need this guy to hurry up and figure it out. This guy's got no chance. This guy's better than we thought. So you're going to get that. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, the space between those two things, the potential and the reality, it's the coaching and development. And we trust these guys here for coaching and development. I mean, Mike Norvell has not been shy to talk about in the past. Trey Benson came in here and he hadn't done much in college football. Johnny Wilson, what they did with Jerry on and some other players. So he knows there's development to be done. But yeah, I think we're all arriving at the same point, like across the beat, which is the quantity of solid football players on this team is as high as it's ever been under Mike Norvell. And it's probably 9 years ago. It was the time that we had that 16 team that got smoked by Louisville. Actually, a lot of good dudes, a lot of good players on that team. This group is probably the most talented down the depth chart since that team almost 10 years ago. But where's your top end? Where are the guys who are going to define the game and go make the plays? They don't have the experience, so we can't know. But that's where it comes down to do you trust the coaching staff to develop this lot of quality players and find a few emerging stars out of each segment group? If they do, then this group can do exactly what last year's group did, I think. Even though the schedule is more difficult, it's spaced out very, very nicely for this group to win 12 games in the regular season. It's hard to project that to happen, though, because you need solutions that you don't see before your eyes right now in each practice.
Not definitively, yeah. I know I never have to worry about what I'm getting when I go by and get me a big-ass platter of Zaxby's. I know what I'm getting when I go to Zaxby's. I know that when I get there, I'm going to pick up the most delicious golden brown nuggets that one can find in Tallahassee at one of the 108 Zaxby's here in town. And I know that when I buy said platter for my family, I've got 2 growing boys who eat me out of house and home, that they'll be happy, and that I'm supporting a man that supports Florida State athletics in the way of being a Golden Chief booster for over 19 years. Stop by one of your 108 Zaxby's here in town and celebrate that fact today. That's what you should do.
1 week from today.
That's right. You'll be back.
I will have landed in Jacksonville. This one's a Jayville trip, so I'll be getting a rental car. But you know what that means? More autonomy. You don't need to take the rideshare service or ask a friend, hey, can you bum me a ride over to the Zaxby's? I know that you're passing about 6 of them on the way to come get me. So maybe if you just wanted
to pick it up on the way,
pick it up on the way, you could drop it off. Hell, you can leave it outside my hotel room door, knock and leave.
Yeah, I'll Venmo you.
Venmo you. Yeah.
Do the right thing.
You have Venmo.
It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Media are always looking for a reliable car repair place in Tallahassee. Well, I know a guy. It's actually 2 guys, and their service is super. My work schedule loves that they're open till 5 on Saturday. Everyone on the staff is professional. They treat me right, and they work on all makes and models. They even bring free snacks to the waiting area. And my fave, there's a big window, so I get to see my car's progress. Oh, I forgot to tell you who. It's on Mahan Drive. It's the Kraft Brothers Auto Dealerships.
That's right. You can count on either of our dealerships, Kraft Nissan or Infinity of Tallahassee, to treat you right. We staff certified master technicians and genuine factory parts. You'll feel welcome when you meet Debbie McClanahan at Infinity or our service director, Bob Ramhofer at Nissan. They're just good people, and they can and will answer any questions you may have. Plus, we have totally upgraded our Nissan service write-up area with an indoor climate-controlled and easy-to-navigate layout. In this month's service special, buy 3 tires and get the 4th one free. Kraft dealerships on Mahan Drive in Tallahassee.
A cup of Joe, Java, brew, go-go beans, brain water, liquid lightning, wakey juice, whatever you call your cup of coffee, you're missing out if it's not Grassroots Coffee. At grassrootscoffee.com, you'll find an easy way to order the best roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roast master himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Next time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name, because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Hit grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots Coffee.
The weather is unpredictable and can cause issues around your home. Weston Trawick provides commercial, residential, and industrial electrical wiring services, yearly inspections on fire alarms, portable generator sales, and so much more. With 24/7 emergency service and repair, Weston Trawick will be your calm in the storm. Give them a call at 514-0003. Weston Trawick. Professional electrical services day or night. Visit online at westontrawick.com.
Give your business a facelift with a modern, consistent, creative brand overhaul from Curiosity Marketing Group. These days, it's not enough for your business just to have a standard website or a Google listing to reach your customers. Your business needs to stand out with eye-popping branding, modern web development, and strong marketing. And it takes a team to pull it all together. Words and websites matter. At Curiosity, we make the most of yours. Find out more at curiositymg.com.
I used to fight almost on a daily basis working on my business website. I'm a pretty smart guy, but I could never get it to function the way I needed it to, and I was losing customers because of it. That's when I called Curiosity Marketing. They listened, they understood, we collaborated, and in the end, they delivered beyond my highest expectations. Now, I can barely keep up with the work. They say the future belongs to the curious, and now I'm excited about the future of my business.
Find out more at curiositymg.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout, resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com multimedia network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida athletics. That's Warchant.com.
Don't forget my friends at Social Kitchen. They've got you covered. By the way, they've got a master's packages, it's the master's package, if you will, going on right now at Social Kitchen. If you want to purchase that, you go to socialkitchentlh.com to check it out. You can come in also to Social Kitchen off of Cary Forest, and they can help you order it through the website. It's go there and take a look at it. You'll see what I'm talking about. But if you are having people over at any point for the Masters and you don't want to worry about what you're cooking and how it's getting done, but you want high-quality food and lots of it and deliciousness, socialkitchentlh.com. Go look it up. You'll see what I'm talking about. Order that package. You're all set. Wasn't it, Tom, a couple of years ago that you tried to do something for the Masters and you had something sent in and it just didn't work out? Is that right?
That was last year. Yeah, there was an issue at the home. Caretaking needed to be done. I don't want to.
That's what it was.
Yeah. So that's what happened. But so I had a panoply of Masters cookies and sandwiches and Yeah, we add the pimento cheese scent. Like, you can get the taste of the Masters thing. It is an overpriced bougie move, but if you're going to have a themed party, like that was the concept of what we were going for. I still have cups and coasters from last year's Masters. So in case you ever want to celebrate John Rahm's victory, I've got some mementos that you can just claim that you were there to see it. So you see, I've got the coaster, but I'm sure you can save a little bit more if you and get even better quality if you go local with your friends over at Social Kitchen.
You know, I got to tell you, I'm not going to like the odds that we get for the Masters, because who in their right mind isn't taking Scotty Scheffler to win the Masters, right? I mean, goodness gracious. It's going to be Scotty Scheffler and like nobody else in terms of what you can get with odds, right? Like that he will be the odds-on favorite by a landslide.
Yeah.
By the way, this week, guys, I try to do you right here and there. I don't like to give you all my picks, although some of you cashed, as I did, the Steven Yeager pick, which may have been my best yet. You know, if you go back and look at it, how many guys are out here on the airwaves, anywhere in the country, telling you to take Steven Yeager to win a tournament, and then Holmes wins the tournament over Scheffler by a stroke. That is doing some things. This week, I'll give you a few, not all of them, but I'll give you a few. Who do I got here? I did one this morning, bright and early. Aberg again, guys, can't miss. Feel free to throw a little pizza money on Aberg. Certainly, I'd look more towards the top 10 market than I would top 20 market for him. You'll like this one, Tommy. I think he's close. And he was once a child star who faded fast, but is coming back around. Bud Colley. Sprinkle a little pizza money on Bud Colley in the top 20 here. He likes this course. I think he's got a top 20 in him here this week. A little Bud Colley. Yeah.
Golly.
Davis Thompson and Harris English, I feel good about this week. I would also tell you Ben On is hitting the ball pretty well right now. Those aren't outright winners. Those are top 20. You can get some head-to-head matchups that you might like. I like Russell Henley and his head-to-head matchup, depending on where you go, where you bet. I do think Hideki Matsuyama might win this tournament. So there you go. There's a few names to sprinkle.
What is Bud Colley getting you at a top 20? Got to be pretty good.
It's getting you a lot. And if you want to really have fun with Bud Colley, let me find it. I did a winner bet here.
Who doesn't want to have a lot of fun with Bud Colley?
I want to tell you what you can. By the way, Davis Thompson's played really well. You can get him at plus 7,500 to win the tournament. If that were to happen, but just take me out to dinner, everybody. Just take me out to dinner.
Plus 330 for Bud Colley, top 20.
Yeah,
nice. 3-1.
Yeah, that's a nice little, sprinkle a little pizza money, like we say. You guys be responsible with all this. I'm just saying, be smart about all this. But yeah, you can get, like, if you get into these odds for Bud Colley to win the whole thing, I mean, you can get rich, but you got to win the golf tournament. So.
Trying to find Bud Colley. I'm scrolling. Even at top 3 is 18-1, but it's it is 100-1 for Bud. So if you,
you do what you do. You do what you do. Hey, I'm not. It's. You guys understand. I was talking to somebody recently, and they don't understand golf betting. They don't understand how any of this works. And they're not stupid. They just have never really gambled. They're like, I hear you talk about it, and you mention a lot of names, and I'm like, you do realize that when I mention these names, and I tell all newcomers this. The vast majority of your golf bets are going to lose. Even if back in his heyday, if you bet Tiger Woods every week, you were going to lose.
Yeah, and it wasn't that profitable because there was no value.
There was no value. It was like minus money on Tiger Woods at one point, which is crazy.
That's right.
But what you can do is offset all the losing you're going to do, because you're going to. The guys that are the best in the world at this lose most of their bets. The thing is, if you hit on a Steven Yeager, like this guy did, and you win a tidy sum, it funds the rest of your golf betting for the year. I mean, so like, that's how this works. God forbid you hit on a bunch of your top 20 bets, which is actually much more doable. That's I will tell you this. That's if you want to win in golf betting, study horses for courses and bet top 20s, not top 5s.
Yep. And then watch what they do through a couple of days in the majors. I love a little 36-hole new live odds on winners and top 5. I love to assess because then you know that you're not going to run into a Rory McIlroy 82-69 misses the cut by 1 situation where you go, great. Really appreciate that you got it together for the last 4 holes so that you could miss the +4 cut at the U.S. Open by 1 or 2. That happened in his home course when Lowry won the Open Championship. He shot that awful number in day 1. So then you're like, all right, I know these guys are getting to the finish line. And I know who's in 12th right now. Now, 12 doesn't usually come all the way up to win after 36 holes. But you know what? I got to tell you, Victor Hovland looks like he's on fire. I'm playing Javi.
I like to go through the thinking process with you. It's fun. Hey, something happened yesterday in the world of sports that I want to touch on for a second, and I think it's great and good for the people of Kansas City for their vote, by the way. Did you see this? The Royals and the Chiefs, the taxpayers like, no, man, we're not building any new stadiums. They're telling billionaire owners to pound sand. And I have told people for years, and I'm not going to get into a long diatribe about this, and it's not political, but billionaire owners begging everyday taxpayers for money to build their stadiums, and if they don't, they threaten to leave, is nonsense, is complete and utter nonsense, and it's nonsense on a lot of levels. There's all kinds of BS entitlement that goes on with this, and I don't know why Major League Baseball owners and NFL owners have somehow convinced themselves that they're entitled to a stadium village or a ballpark village that the taxpayers have to pay for. There's no other.
Nope. It's the poor in this country that are entitled, sir, not the billionaires. I don't know what you're talking about. The poor people are the ones that's the entitlement state, not the rich ones.
And they sound ridiculous when they get voted against. They come out with these statements where they're shaming the everyday Joe who's going to work, who can't afford to fund their stadium. They're shaming, like, don't you care about your local team? Don't you care about what we bring to this community and how all your lives are more enriched? Quote from John Sherman, the Royals owner, we're deeply disappointed. We're steadfast in our belief that Jackson County is where the Chiefs and the Royals should be. Oh, so you're threatening relocation. Got it. You can go to hell. Go to hell. They all do it, and it drives me nuts. Just go read those stories. Just a little side note. I had to vent a little about that. I'm good for the Kansas City taxpayers. Double middle fingers to those two owners. No, that's not how it works, man. Like, you know what? Tom and I would like to build and own a pub of some sort. We've talked about this before.
Yes, it includes a top-of-the-line pizza entity. It's going to take the pizza game, and we're going to be big in the pizza category.
What did we call it? What did we call this?
I forget.
I forgot what I called it. It was
something to do with pinball, wasn't it? It wasn't like
it was something to do with it was a pub, but it also had the old-timey look. I can't even remember what the hell I called it. Anyhow, we want to build one of these things in town. We think it's going to be very successful. Now, Tom and I don't want to take out a loan and have a business plan and get approved for this and then take on the risk of paying off said money. We would like you in the community to build this facility to our specs. In fact, I've got very specific things that I would like to see in our pizza pub, and I think Tom does too. So it's not nothing. It's going to cost quite a bit because we really want to cater to all parties. And we also have a location that we like, and we're going to need the existing building owner to give up the land because we want to build there and at the very least give up the facility. And I'm sorry, that's their life dream, but you got to take it on down the road. We've got to repurpose this area. And we need all of you here in Tallahassee to pay for that. Trust me, it's going to enrich the community, and you will thank us later for having taken your hard-earned tax-paying dollars and building this on your dime. And if it doesn't work out, I'm sorry, but, we had the best intentions in mind.
Well, zip codes matter, of course, and we have a zip code that we like. We feel very strong about this category. And the thing I'd say also is, again, we are providing a premium service, quality of life to the community. And for those of you that do want to have a regular place at our particular pub pizza joint,
you can pay for that.
Well, there is a license for the seating that you can have at specific booths. And
now,
now,
Tom, you got to remember. Let's be fair. We want, in the interest of transparency, to say this: there is a licensing fee that you pay, but that does not guarantee you the seat. That's just to have a chance.
Yeah.
To own the seat. You understand?
Yeah, but it is a personal license. So therefore you have a piece of the action. You do not see any of the profits. You don't see any of the revenues.
No.
But you got a piece of the action. And you know what? We're launching a program I'm so excited about.
Yeah.
And this program is there's going to be a plaque on the seat, and it's going to be about 3 inches by an inch. And so you can engrave a message up to about 18 characters, and it could be your last name. It could be your child's name, maybe your pet's name.
You pass it on. Yeah.
Maybe your favorite segment of the show. But we're going to do that for you at no charge. At no charge as long as
wow. I like where your head's at. That's great, Tom. Good job, buddy. I appreciate you doing that. Yeah. Well, you guys chop. Let's get on the permits and everything. We need you to build this facility for us, and we'll make it happen. By the way, before we break, let me remind you that you should plant the spear on credit card processing costs and put more money back into your own business. For 15 years, Tried and True Consulting has been helping businesses increase their bottom line and maximize revenue, which is kind of what we're talking about here. Scan the QR code or call fellow Knowles, Don or Joe, 844-464-6653 to schedule your kickoff call. By the way, Tried and True Consulting contributes 10% of their net revenue to the Battles Inn when you sign up. Let's support the Battles Inn. Let's go Tried and True. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Hey, fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So, like, different breeds, like different kinds
there's like families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch.
Or the Yeti. Right,
yep,
and then here in Florida, that's a skunk ape, and I've
never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
But I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Wrapping it up, Jeff Cameron Show. Remember, we will manipulate the action here this segment because at the end of it, we do probables. And we have music for probables and all those things that YouTube tags. So, I don't know. Tom will tell you how to get probables. I just do them. I just say who's pitching, and we figure out how to get you probables.
realtalk93.com, and you click listen live. It's that simple. So if you want to head over there now, transition, you can. But if you want to catch those names and you want to catch the music, and maybe yesterday or Monday we had a little bit of banter too before the show was over. That was just kind of like loosey goosey. So that's how you get it. realtalk93.com.
I like it. All right. So practice again tomorrow. For those that don't know, nothing today from FSU. We get practice tomorrow, and we'll be there for that. Looking forward to it. And this is getting. Can you believe how quickly this is happening? It's already April the 3rd. The golf tournament is on the 12th. The spring game is that weekend. It's happening so fast.
Spring game's the next weekend.
The next weekend. Yeah, not that weekend. Yes, the next weekend. But it is. It's happening quickly. So it'll all be here before you know it. And we'll be kind of ready for that game and wondering what we have and who's leaving, and who's coming in. I keep bringing this part up because people attach themselves emotionally to the concerns of players leaving, which is a very modern phenomenon now, where at the end of every spring across the country, you're going to be combing, almost like the want ads. Everybody's from back in the day. They're, oh, this job just opened up and this guy left. Well, that's a bad loss for them. But we could get this guy to fill that. That's kind of where you're at. And that's what's going to happen for us in this roster. Now, this has been a topic the last few days and dating back to the end of last week. I don't think it's going to be as expansive within Florida State's roster as it is some others. Just the way that it's set up, I don't think it will be. But I do think they're going to lose some people. And I would guess that they're going to lose at least one guy that we all go, oh, man. Like, I don't think anybody gets out of this in the modern era unscathed. I think you lose somebody, like it already happened once before, but this will be for a different reason. But yeah, I think you'll lose somebody and you're going to go, really didn't think we'd lose him. That kind of stinks. And then you'll just watch the Battles Inn do their work and Mike Norvell and staff do their work as they try to identify how to replace said pieces. They probably already have in mind some guys that they're going to bring in. Maybe not in anticipation of certain players leaving, just guys they want to bring in because of areas of concern for certain segment groups. But they'll have to add to that list perhaps. So it gets to be a very busy time. And as we get further along in this spring practice, those assessments that you heard from Adam Fuller today and that you'll hear from the coaches in general become all the more important because it kind of reveals to you, what they're thinking. And you can read the tea leaves and say, well, I thought this was an important camp. I remember a few years ago, Mike Norvell mentioned an offensive lineman's name and said it was a very important camp for him.
Yeah.
That was the most direct he had ever been about a player, specific player, and what was important for him. And unfortunately, and I won't name the player, that player did not make the grade. It didn't work out. He didn't have the kind of camp he needed. And, they had to move on basically without him and try to get better. This is an important camp for a lot of guys. And some of them are going to make the grade and some of them are going to come up short again. And we're going to have to move on from them. So that's the modern reality.
Well, the competition is there every day, though. So you feel better about the end product that you're going to get from our perspective as, a fan. I'll just put the fans cap on. You're going to get better play because the competition is there to foster development. And that goes two ways. It's within your own segment group because you're competing with a friend of yours, a segment mate of yours for a job. But then also on the other side, this receiver room is loaded. This defensive back room is loaded. So if you're a receiver at Florida State and you want to be in the top two, if you take a day off, you're going to get clowned on. You're going to look terrible because we've got a good defensive back room. Yeah. So you can't. You don't have that luxury. You don't have room for complacency. And that's where programs need to go. Alabama, Georgia send good players to other schools all the time. One of them helped transition this program from what we were to where we are now. That's the nature of the beast. I hope we have a lot of dudes in the next 2 to 3 years that we say, I wish it could have worked out here, but I'm glad he succeeded at Penn State or
somewhere else. Somewhere else, yeah. It's time for Probables. We'll do it. I want to say thanks to my friends at Power Mill Training Academy, as always, for sponsoring the segment. Go to PowerMillSports.com to learn more. Helping your young guy or gal get better with the fundamental skills that are foundational to successful play. That's what they do at Power Mill, and they also have camps, so PowerMillSports.com. Cue it up, good sir. Let's make it happen.